All right, class, welcome. Today, we're going to dive into one of the most fundamental, yet powerful, concepts in business and economics. We're going to talk about price. Specifically, why things are priced the way they are. Why is a brand new flagship smartphone priced at $1,000, while another one that looks pretty similar costs just a fraction of that? Well, I can tell you it's not arbitrary. It's a calculated decision, and it's rooted in a core principle we're going to deconstruct today: the elasticity of demand. I want you to really think about the products you see every single day. The price difference between that high-end phone and the budget model, or even between a fancy cup of coffee and a simple bottle of water. None of that is an accident. It's all the result of a really sophisticated analysis of consumer behavior. So the fundamental question for any manager, for any of you going into business, is this: what's the economic model that explains this? And more importantly, how can we use it to predict how to price our own products? And here's the good news. This entire complex-looking framework, it actually rests on a single elegant concept. And mastering this principle isn't just about getting a good grade in this course. No, this is about developing the analytical lens, the way of seeing the market that you're going to use for the rest of your careers. So let's get right into it. That concept is known as elasticity. We'll start by building a really precise definition. Okay, so here's the formal definition you'd find in any textbook. Price elasticity of demand quantifies the responsiveness of quantity demanded to a change in price. But let's break that down into practical terms. What it's really doing is answering the most critical question a company can ask about pricing. If we change the price of our product, up or down, by how much will the amount that people buy change? Are our customers incredibly sensitive to even a small price change? Or is their buying behavior pretty stable, pretty consistent, even if we raise prices quite a bit? That is the absolute essence of what elasticity measures. To make this concept really intuitive, let's use a simple analogy. I want you to picture the demand for a product as a rubber band. And the price? The price is the force you apply when you pull on that rubber band. And this slide really shows the two ends of the spectrum. On the left, you have elastic demand. This is like a really stretchy rubber band. A small pull, a small change in price, causes it to stretch a lot. That means demand changes dramatically, a big, disproportionate reaction. On the other side, we have inelastic demand. This is like one of those thick, stiff rubber bands. You can pull on it really hard, you can change the price a lot, but it barely stretches. The quantity that people demand is relatively insensitive to that price change. Now, this theoretical framework is interesting, but it becomes truly powerful when we apply it. So let's look at how this spectrum of elasticity actually plays out in the real world with products we all know. This table gives us some perfect examples to contrast. Let's look at the elastic column first. Luxury cars, vacation airline tickets, a specific brand of soda. What's the common thread here? Well, for the most part, it's the availability of substitutes. If the price of a BMW goes up, you have plenty of other options, right? You can look at an Audi, a Lexus, or even a different class of car altogether. The same goes for soda. If Coke raises its price, you can just buy Pepsi. Because there are lots of choices, your demand is highly price sensitive or elastic. Now look at the inelastic column. Gasoline, essential medicine, tap water. These products have very few, if any, close substitutes. If you need a specific medication to manage a health condition, or you need gasoline to get to work tomorrow, you're going to buy it. Your demand is far less responsive to a price hike. It's inelastic. And this chart, this puts hard numbers on that concept. And this is where it gets really powerful for business decision-making. Look at this. A 20% price increase for a luxury car could cause a 40% collapse in sales. That's a massive elastic response. But for gasoline, that exact same 20% price hike might only reduce demand by a mere 5%. The demand is highly inelastic. Now, for a business, this data isn't just a description of what happened, it's predictive. It tells that luxury car manufacturer, be extremely careful with price increases, but it signals to the gasoline retailer that they have significant pricing power. Okay, so we've established the qualitative difference, right? We get the feel for elastic versus inelastic. But for real strategic decisions, businesses need a precise quantitative number. So the next logical question is, how do we actually calculate the exact coefficient of elasticity? And the tool for this precise measurement, as our source material correctly points out, is the derivative. Now, I know some of you are taking calculus right now. You know that the derivative measures the instantaneous rate of change, the slope of a function at one specific point. Well, in economics, the demand curve is our function. So by taking the derivative of the demand function at a particular price point, a firm can calculate the exact price elasticity of demand right at that price. It's not an average or a guess. It's a precise calculation of how a tiny 1% change in price will affect the quantity demanded at that exact moment. Now, here's a very common mistake students make. They assume elasticity is constant along the whole demand curve. It is not. This calculation gives us what we call point elasticity, and it is what transforms pricing from a bit of an art into a hard science. So, we have the concept, and we have the mathematical tool to measure it. Now we get to the most important part of this whole discussion, the strategic application. How does a manager take this number and use it to make decisions that maximize revenue and profit? This quote from our source really encapsulates the whole strategic imperative here. Understanding elasticity is not some theoretical exercise for economists sitting in an office. No, it is a fundamental, non-negotiable pillar of corporate strategy. It informs every single pricing decision, from a product launch to a holiday sale to a response to a competitor. And getting it right can be the difference between leading a market and going out of business. Let's really drill down into the strategic implications here. First, for an elastic good, raising the price is incredibly risky. Why? Because the percentage drop in the quantity you sell will be greater than the percentage increase in your price. So your total revenue, price times quantity, actually goes down. You end up making less money. But a price cut can be a brilliant move. The surge in the quantity people buy will more than make up for the lower price, and your total revenue can skyrocket. Now, for an inelastic good, the exact opposite is true. You can raise the price, and because the quantity sold barely drops, your total revenue goes up. This is why understanding which category your product falls into is absolutely central to a winning pricing strategy. So once you're equipped with this framework, you can begin to analyze the entire commercial world with a whole new level of insight. You've essentially been given a new kind of economic X-ray vision. So I want to leave you with this final thought. The next time you see the price of an airline ticket change by the hour, or you wonder about the high cost of a new drug, you'll recognize the mechanics at play. You're not just looking at a price tag. You are witnessing a calculated business strategy that's built entirely on an assessment of demand elasticity. As future business leaders, the question you must constantly be asking yourselves is, what does this price tell me about the company's understanding of its customers' behavior? That is the story you need to learn how to read.